Loktargar friends, hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And today I did max effort on safety bar squats and deficit deadlifts. And like between my boots and the plates, I think it's like a 3-inch deficit. I almost died today, almost died doing the safety bar. I thought I was going to come in and ramp up to a 405 because like 355 was easy. I got to 485 and you guys are going to see what happened. I almost lost it, like almost fell backwards. So we're going to count that as my max, 385. And anyone who's never done safety bar squats, and I mean with a legit bar, one that actually is, if you look at my angle, the actual camber runs right there with the handles. So this is one of the more extreme cambers you can run. You think you're going to walk in and do 90-95% of your back squat and you think you're actually going to be able to hit it, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Because this 385, I mean, I was fine out of the bottom, but I almost lost it. I almost died. Something else, this is me doing some conjugate stuff at this point with max effort. Now, I'm not going to call it the conjugate method because that is West Side Barbell. And yes, this is very West Side-ish for raw lifters. Yeah, see, I almost lost it there. That was rough. So yeah, but I'm not going to call it the conjugate method. And the reason is this is not exactly the way Louis Simmons sets stuff up. It's not the way he runs stuff for his lifters. And out of respect for Louis, because of the work he's done, I'm not going to claim that I'm doing West Side or the conjugate method because I'm not. And, you know, Louis doesn't like it when you change his system and try to call it under his name. Not cool. He doesn't like that. So this is not his system. This is my own system. But I borrow a lot of his methodologies because they're smart and they do work. And I used to train this way a couple of different times over the years, including way back in the day. So I understand how to do it. I understand how to make it work. But the difference here is that we still train the classic lifts. You guys are going to notice on all these days, if I maxed on some of these alternative lifts, what do? I go back and I do back off triples with the competition lifts. Right? That's a big difference, even though we might rotate through max effort exercises. And notice I'm generally doing harder variations. What do we do for max effort? Do you see me doing board work, reverse bands? No, because I'm a raw lifter. And if we're trying to maximize size, you don't want to do that stuff. Those cause less muscle growth. They cause less muscle growth. You don't want to do partials. Partials are stupid if you're trying to get big. Right? They don't put size on you. Don't listen to stupid ass strap-on destiny. All right, that silly ass kid is just blasting a little bit of gear and then claiming his traps are blowing up from the silly shit he's doing. It doesn't actually work. So I'm just gonna call that like it is. People can think whatever they want about that. But we ramped up with this deficit, and yes, I threw the belt on. I don't like to deadlift with a belt, but I also need to start doing max effort work, and I need to start looking at getting as strong as possible and set aside my ego. I might love beltless training. I think beltless training is awesome. I do tons of beltless training. Guess what? And to get as strong as possible. I can't be dogmatic. I have to use the best tools available to me. But 465 went up reasonably good. I'm going to quit there for now because every time I rotate through and hit any of these big lifts again, we're going to try to PR on them forever. They're indefinitely. So that means even if I come through, if I do each of these lifts once a month, you know, or we even rotate other stuff through to space it out, we want to PR every single time. And again, that builds confidence and it builds strength on these awkward exercises because a lot of these are awkward. They're hard. We get strong at all these different angles. All right, now notice the difference between the safety bar squat and back squat. This is only 10 pounds less than I had on the safety squat bar. 10 pounds less. Look how easy I crank out a 3x3. These aren't even 3-rep maxes, right? These aren't even limit sets. They're just good quality practice. They're not limit sets. But I almost died under 10 pounds heavier than this on a safety squat. So perspective, people. Perspective. Oh my God, there's going to be fucking Shadow Man videos and stuff. This is Shadow Jew. And Jason Blaha has almost died, once again, showing he's a pathological liar. Oh my God, the bullshit on the internet. When the reality is my channel's all just about training and making you guys strong and keeping you from being ripped off. But, you know, of According to the internet, I'm literally Hitler. Clearly the most evil person out there. You guys got to wonder why people really think that. What's really going on? I'll let you guys think on that for a little bit. Anti-supplement, anti-bodybuilding guy who just wants you to be strong and healthy and not get ripped off. Yeah, there's no vested interest in taking me down by anybody. Nobody with any money, huh? But yeah, these were pretty easy. Nice, challenging, non-limit practice triples, right? Just so that we ingrain the motor pattern. Because we can do Mike's effort on the other stuff, and then, you know, once a month or so, we'll come through and, or whatever interval, and we'll hit the true maxes on these lifts and try to PR those each time. But again, we get strong at all these different angles, and that's the point. And on a lot of these awkward exercises. Now, what I'm going to be doing here at this point, small exercises. It's now time to specialize. Time to specialize. I need triceps. So I'm going to be doing a lot of tricep volume. So while I've got 5 minutes of tricep extensions to talk here, people are going to be like, well, what's the difference between this and just having a bro arm day? Because I'm not on drugs. That's why. All right, let's just call it like it is. Having a bro arm day if you're not on drugs is stupid. It's not going to work. You're still dealing with muscle protein synthesis uptime. And if you look at even that debate between Dr. Mike and Lyle McDonald talking about volume, Lyle had noted that they did a study where they showed that going from 14 sets to 28 sets in one day for triceps caused 0 additional muscle growth in a study. None. Doubling the volume caused no growth. What does cause growth? Hitting effective volume. Like we've seen some studies even for triceps that show maximum size comes out of sometimes 5 to 10 sets in a workout. In a workout. So what happens if I do 5 to 10 sets 4 days a week with different training stimulus? You know, 3 of these days I can come in and do all these skull crushers. And notice I'm doing these explosively, and notice we're getting a stretch on the long head. Now, we could argue the lazy head, the long head isn't going to help my bench enormously. That's true, but the whole tricep will. And it will help my overhead press. My overhead press and my bench are both limited right now by my triceps. They're limited by my triceps. And so people will be like, Jason, why don't you advocate novices come in and do this sort of this specialization with these big fluffy exercises for small muscles? Because these are for specialization. It's weak point training. You can't train your whole body like this. You're not going to recover. Volume is enormously difficult to recover from. It's enormously difficult to recover from. So we save volume like this, especially doing it at really high frequency. If you're drug-free, you're going to have to be careful with it. We save this for the muscles that really and truly need it. Save it for the muscles that really and truly need it. Usually it's going to be a smaller muscle because a lot of your bigger muscles can't always handle this. So for me, it's going to be things like rear delts. I'm probably going to do face pulls and abs every day. Probably going to start doing lower back every day too. So we're going to be doing face pulls, abs, lower back pretty much every day. High volume like this. And then triceps like 4 days a week. My triceps are my limit. They're a smaller muscle, and they're my limit on 2 of my most important exercises. I need to bring them up. And we come back over to my press, right? Triceps are a limit on my press. The long head is very important for the press. Charles Poliquin wrote a lot about that when he was alive, that he felt the overhead press, the standing press, was the most important tricep developer because of the effect it had on the long head. But by that same token, because I'm doing so much other pressing and other big exercises, I can only do so much overhead press volume. And I'm doing a lot of it. But I can specialize on bringing up my whole tricep and including that long head for now. Right? And so that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be my specialty. I'm getting plenty of delt work. I don't need to do all the laterals. I don't need to do the laterals anymore. I'm doing face pulls all the time. I'm doing delts overhead pressing. I'm good. Biceps, my biceps are really becoming a limit on my chin-ups and pull-ups and everything else because they're so beat up from the curls, right? I'm just going to let them grow off of that now in the face pulls. It'll be fine. Triceps need the work, so it's time to specialize in them a little bit. Bring the long head up, bring up the whole tricep, do a bunch of volume, and it's going to be my little specialty muscle that needs to be worked for a face. It needs it. And then when it's sorted out, we'll figure out the next weak point and work that. So I'm pretty much taking this final set to failure, which the last set was close to also. So enjoy it, and I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.